guys, I'm back with the 8th layout in my collection Disconnection video series, and this is going to be a really quick one. I am using this single photo of my daughter, and I am determined to use those tassels, which I pulled out for a previous layout but didn't end up using. The other thing that I'm doing is lots of collections have similar products across the collection, or similar phrases repeated across the collection. In this one, I found the word hello several times, and so I'm going to run with that and use the hello die cut piece, or the hello wood word, and then the hello die cut pieces. There were a few other things that said hello as well, but I didn't end up putting them on the layout. I'm creating a column design, and I am using this single photo of my daughter, and I wanted it to be small because I'm talking about how I want her to stay little. And so that was important to me. So I chose that paper with the banners across it because I felt like it went well with the tassels. And it's nice to showcase a kind of busier pattern when you do a column design like this, because all of the design and the important stuff is going to stay in the center of the page where you can still focus on it. So I am going ahead and putting that little string of tassels down, and I'm not going to adhere the tassels to anything, so they'll just be free floating on the string. And I'm just using some washi tape to secure that, and it will become even more secure when I glue down those paper strips. Those paper strips are just over 3 inches, so I have a little bit, it's about a 5-inch space in the middle, I would say, maybe. So not a super large space down the center. And I just eyeballed it. And I'm using the blue paper across, to bring the center and the outside pieces together. It just kind of creates a nice border. So I knew that I wanted to use that die cut that says little u for sure. And so I've got that resting on the photo. And I'm misting that wood word with some Studio Calico Mr. Huey's in Taxi, which is a nice yellow. And I just dabbed it off. I made a huge mess, so I had to clean it up. But I wanted to bring out a bit of that yellow to kind of brighten things up a little. And I like the way that looks. And there's one yellow tassel, so I thought it would be nice to bring it in a little bit more. So I did spell out the word hello with the thickers that go along with this collection, which are super cute, but I end up not using that because I wanted some more space for my journaling. So that word ended up going away. I'm going to pop the die cut pieces up on some foam squares just to give them a little bit of height and give them that extra impact. So when you're using something like the words that are repeated across the collection, I think it's a great idea to use a ton of them for impact and use them close together. And so there were, like I said, a few other pieces that said the word hello that I didn't end up using, but because these two that I do end up going with are so large, they create the impact that I need. So like I said, that word hello is going to go. It doesn't stand out against the photo anyway. That photo does have a little space at the top of it where I can put things over it without worrying about it. So it doesn't bother me to cover up that space, and it makes the photo look smaller, which in this instance, like I mentioned, I want because I'm talking about how I want her to stay little. And so that just kind of emphasizes the fact that I want her to stay little, right? So after I get this configuration done, then I like the way that's looking, so I'm going to go ahead and commit and adhere all of those letters down. And like I said, this is a really super simple layout, especially for me. I didn't do a whole lot of embellishing. It was more about the story and the focus on those bold elements like the tassels and those words. I went over to my typewriter and I typed up my journaling. I've been obsessed with my typewriter lately. I've been using it on almost every layout. I just really like the way that the type journaling looks. And I've always been a fan, but I get too lazy about it sometimes. So in this case, I didn't have enough room to write my journaling in that little space, and so I needed to type it up so that I could lay it over the top of the photo. So just cutting them into really thin strips, and then I will adhere them all along that space. And I'm cutting off the excess like the excess white pieces on the side. And really that's all that's going to go into this layout. I think I moved that tassel banner up just a little tiny bit so that it doesn't overhang on the word hello so much. You'll see me lift up the layout here in a minute to see if it's going to hang too low. And then I'm going to add a few little splatters and a couple of gold sparkly, glittery rather, stickers that came from the kit. I've used those a lot more than I thought I would. So I'm going to use my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a fine line bottle to adhere all of that journaling. And I'm kind of tucking that first strip just a tiny, tiny bit underneath that word hello so that it really feeds into the journaling. I say this probably every time, but anywhere where you can overlap or nest or nestle things in, it really helps the layout feel cohesive. So just getting all those strips down. I like the way you can tell on some of the pieces or of the strips where I messed up the typing, and I just go back and type over the letter that I got wrong with the right letter, and I don't care about it. And I kind of like the way that it's a little bit imperfect. So I don't usually correct it unless it's a horrible mistake, but it's not usually. So again, I'm just gluing parts of these over the photo. The photo has a lot of empty space at the top, so it allows me to do that. So I'm losing a bit of that photo, but again, it's just drawing your eye down and to the fact that my daughter's so little. So the journaling just talks about how I want her to stay little and how she, I told her, she keeps saying she is almost a preteen. I don't know where she got that word from, but it's cracking me up. And it makes me sad because I just want her to be little forever. And so I told her that, and she immediately was like, Mom, I'm sad. I don't want to turn 10. And I said, why? And she said, because then I'll have 2 numbers in my age, and I don't want to grow up too fast. And it made me so happy. She was just trying to make me happy, and it did. So I wanted to kind of document that as well as mention the fact that I want my baby to stay little for a while longer. So here you can see I'm cutting those glitter circles in half. I thought about putting them on either side of the photo, but A, my photo is a little bit off-centered, so it looks weird. And B, it looks strange on the bottom. I don't know. Something about it is bothering me. You just saw me move that tassel up. I'm holding it up so I can see where it rests. So I'm going to try to move the photo over, but there's so much of that journaling on the top of it that I glued down, it's just not going to work out. So I'm just going to let it be, and I'm going to move the circles. So I decided to put some up at the top right, kind of resting on that blue border strip, and then at the bottom left. And I like the way that looks. So as a finishing touch, I'm just going to add in, I'm looking through my die cuts to see if there's anything else I want to add next to the photo. So I thought about maybe adding some tags or different bits like that, and I decide not to. I will, I think off camera, stamp the date with some white ink that's just Joann's brand of pigment ink and my Project Life roller stamp. And I just stamped that right below the journaling directly onto the photo. And I just waited for it to dry. And then I will add some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. That's what I'm doing now. And that's going to complete the layout. So I hope that you've enjoyed this process video and that you've learned a new way to use up your products. And I'd love to see if you use one of those elements that's repeated across a collection. Tag me where I can see those, because I love seeing what you guys create. If you have any more questions, head over to my blog at CraftyJenSchow.com, where I'll have more information as well as links to all of the products that I used. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.